Hello everyone, and you can see in this video that we are going to focus on FPS. So let's put up the render distance and simulation distance to max to see how well my computer is going to handle this. The FPS is quite good at this point. In the sky it's alright, it is definitely playable. So let's take a look at the graphics. So the graphics is on fancy mode, not fast. Also, I have all the shadows, all the particles, all the clouds, everything. So this definitely takes some FPS from me. And also remember, no mods here at all. So let's just try to go a little closer to the ground. You can see in the FPS it does drop quite a lot actually, which is to be expected. Now let's put on some sodium mod on. Let's see how that goes, and yes, the FPS is a lot better. It did have drops down to 23 FPS without sodium. Now let's look at the GPU and memory, which is quite important to look at as well, because the GPU it's important to look at now, because later in the video I'm going to try out some shaders as well to see how well the mods I've installed is going to handle them. And the memory, well, as you can see on the video, it's like the image freezes sometimes, like just once in a while it freezes because of the memory going up to maximum. So let's load up a new world, or the same world but with lithium on now, to see if it's any different. And GPU and memory is about the same when I'm standing still, but when I'm moving it's also just the same. Maybe it's because the sodium mods are already doing everything that the lithium mods are also doing, so that's just no difference. I don't really know. But still, the memory still got up to 99%, which is max, or 100% is max, which means that the image is going to freeze like this, and it doesn't sound like much, but it's quite annoying. So let's load up the game again, but with even more mods. But at this point I just installed a bunch of random mods that I just found to see how well my computer could handle it, and how many FPS I could get out from these mods. Also, when I say mods, it's only mods that's going to help my computer play the game better. So giving me more FPS and making it easier for my GPU, CPU, and memory to play the game. Now I'm walking around. The FPS is higher than in the start with no mods, definitely. Render distance is still all the way on max, 32 chunks, which is actually quite a lot. But actually that is not what I normally play around with. You can also see the GPU is still fine. Memory is not, because it's still freezing the image once in a while. So yeah, it's something we're gonna have to try to fix somehow, which, spoiler alert, I do manage to later on in the video. Also, let's try to put the simulation simulation distance down a bit, just a few chunks, while keeping the render distance up, because this has a potential of being helpful and actually being something that makes the game load in easier, so it doesn't have to load in as many chunks as before. But I'm not sure if it's actually going to help anything. You can see the memory, which is the thing I was trying to save here by putting the simulation distance down. It's kind of the same, no big difference. So when the render distance is so high, then it's just not gonna do any difference. Also, now I put the chunks down the render and simulation distance more down, you can see that does help a bit, but it still goes up very, like, the memory gets to be used very much later on. So render distance on 15 chunks, simulation distance on 13 chunks, and this does a lot. I have even more mods on now, and the FPS it's way higher than anyone would ever need it to be. My screen is only 144 Hz. Well, not only, that's a lot, that's plenty. So anything that's above 144 FPS is more than I'm able to even see. But that doesn't stop me from trying to get more FPS out of this. Also, the reasons why I chose to put the render distance down to 15 chunks and the simulation distance down to 13 is because that's what I normally play on. So let's load up some complementary shaders and see how well it handles that with all the mods, of course. And yeah, the FPS drops by a lot, like 26 FPS, and the GPU, it's a lot for the GPU to handle. You could see it did go up to 100%, and sometimes the FPS, if I'm lucky, you can see that it goes all the way to 36 FPS. So it is playable, but it's not the best. Like, I think we can all agree on that more FPS than what I have here could be better. I tried some more shaders, and yeah, this shader is even harder for my GPU to handle because the clouds are, well, they are separate entities just like in normal Minecraft, but it's some complicated clouds. Also, this is how it feels to be flying around in a cloud for some reason. Now, let's take off the shaders and let's take a look at the FPS again. Now the FPS is even higher because I found even more mods. Also, I found a mod that somehow would save my memory. So somehow it's going to make the life of my memory a lot easier. Don't really know what they're doing there, but it's a nice mod that I found, and it seems to be working. So I'm trying to fly around here, test how well my computer is going to handle this with all the mods, how well the mods are doing. And the flying around, I do not drop below 300 FPS, which is absolutely crazy. Standing still, 500, 600 maybe. Looking into the ground, 900 FPS, more than that, getting close to 1,000. Going above 1,000, looking into the sky. So yeah, I don't know why exactly, but when you look into the ground, you get a lot more FPS than normal. Look into the sky, you get even more FPS. Don't really know why that's the case. So yeah, I was just playing around with the FPS a little at this point. Also, look at the memory there. It's a lot lower. It does not go all the way to 100% at any point, so it's not really glitchy. Well, once in a while you can see it does right there. Now it's freezing again. So apparently flying fast and loading in new chunks would make the game freeze. But if you're just playing around in chunks that are already loaded, then the memory should be fine, which is better than before, because before, when you were just playing around in already loaded chunks, then the memory was still on 100%, which is way too much. And also, the crazy thing, I'm having the simulation and render distance all the way to max, and I'm going above 100 FPS. Putting this down to what what even like down to not what I normally play with, but what a person would choose to play with in order to get a lot of FPS. Then yeah, it just looks like this. Like the render distance is so high that it doesn't even mean anything anymore, and the same with the simulation distance. So getting it higher doesn't mean so much. So when you just play around like this, the FPS is still very high. I also tried to put the FPS limit down to 140 or 150 to see what would happen here, and it stayed there. It was stable, standing still, unstable, flying around. So putting it up to 250 FPS, the limit, the FPS was more unstable, but at least it wouldn't drop as much as before, which is great, but still dropping below 100, which is what we're going to try to prevent. So putting the FPS limit to unlimited does help a lot, actually, for some reason. I don't actually know why, because it doesn't do anything to the game at all. Like, it doesn't... Why would the limit that I put on my computer for FPS do anything to the minimum, like anything to how low the FPS is going to go? Going down into the caves will load more blocks also. So maybe this could steal some of my FPS. I just tried it, and then nope. I actually have more FPS now, even when flying around. This is quite crazy to think about, actually. Trying the shaders now, because I have even more mods on than before. It's so crazy, I don't know half of the mods that I've installed. But complementary shaders, well, the FPS is higher now. This is average 36 FPS, all the way down to 32 is the average. Looking up into the sky is 48 FPS. And just walking around is, well, the same as before. I also tried out some resource packs to see if it would do anything different, because this is some resource packs that promises to give me more FPS. So I just tried those out, and no, if it did anything, that it made it worse. Also, this is my mods. This is all of the mods that I installed, and if you want to try out the mods for yourself, then I'm gonna leave the mod pack down in the description so you can try it out. Thank you for watching, and remember to hit the like button and subscribe.